Do you like?
And we're going to
Okay,
continue.
do not overtalk me.
You
Do not
overtalk
overtalk me.
everyone.
Good. Okay. Good. Yeah. So you're being a little obnoxious little swine. You're making a claim that all the facts that you are acquainted with do not necessitate referencing God as the ultimate eternal precondition of all those facts. So I'd like to know, how'd you determine that?
It's a very strange way of asking the question. I mean,
No,
if
actually,
you make any claim,
let me
if you
just
make any claim, if you make any claim, if you make
Okay,
any
okay, you're
claim,
muted. Okay, I'm going to interrupt you right now. It's not a strange question. It's a very carefully crafted question. Okay, to get to the truth of the matter. Okay, it's not a strange question at all. Right now, when you say you don't see any evidence for God, what you are saying is all of the facts that you are acquainted with do not necessitate referencing that God is the precondition of those facts. There's nothing strange about that question. Okay? If God exists, in the case that God exists, I shouldn't say if, in a world where God is, all facts would necessitate referencing God. But you've decided that facts exist without the necessity of referencing God. Isn't that correct?
yeah, I think you have the burden of proof. You're setting it up backwards.
No, listen to me carefully. You know what? I want to rip my hair out right now. Listen, you atheists are so brainwashed in your own sloganeerings, you are simply blinded by it. You're like cultists at the doorstep. Okay? I didn't say anything about my worldview. Okay? And you said that I have a burden of proof. All we did was ask you about your atheism. Now, what you are doing right now is what classically the majority of atheists, especially on the internet, are trying to do. You're trying to use a word that has historically denoted the denial and falsity of God. And then when you are asked to explain that word that identifies you, you want to represent it as merely a description of or an autobiographical statement. Okay? Now, your position is facts do not necessitate referencing God as the ultimate precondition of facts. Is that your position?
Yes, that is my position.
Good. How did you determine that?
Yeah, we're not going to get anywhere with this.
That's a legitimate question as to your position.
Completely backwards. The way you're
Listen
phrasing
to me.
that question.
Stop over talking me.
You overtalk everyone. Treat people how you want to be treated.
This is my room. Okay. Now what you're doing is you're classically doing what atheists do. Now you're going to plan B to be belligerent, obnoxious, and argumentative. Now,
I'm meeting your obnoxiousness and belligerence.
I'm not being obnoxious to you. Okay. Now, your position is that facts exist without the necessity of referencing God. That is your position.
Yes, okay? That is my position.
Now, I want to know how you determine that. Invoking a burden of proof shift is all because you don't know how to answer the question, because maybe the kind of theists or Christians that you dealt with don't know how to ask the right questions. What you're doing is you're reaching into your grab bag of atheist slogans. That's the only thing, your catchphrases, and that's the only thing you have to say. Okay. Now, there are people in the field who are even atheists who condemn what you just said as being dodging. Okay. There's no burden shifting here. Okay. Now, you're an atheist. Your position entails the falsity of God. You stated you're an atheist because facts do not necessitate referencing God as creator or ultimate precondition. So I want to know, how did you determine that? It's a legitimate question.
I determined that because I see no evidence of
You're
the
repeating
claim
the
present
same
in
claim.
reality, and I will continue to repeat that until you actually try to make an
No,
argument
you are
for the
listen to me
existence of the
carefully.
claim you
Hold
are
on, I
making.
gotta put my on. Are repeating the same claim, right? Because you don't know how to answer the question. Okay. Twice what you've done is because you don't know how to answer the question. Okay. It would be more straightforward and honest if you said, I don't know how to answer the question. But you want to reach into your grab bag of atheist cliches and slogans. Okay. Now, you've determined that facts do not necessitate referencing God. Repeating the same claim again and invoking that you don't have a burden of proof is simply dodging. Okay, your position is that facts exist and possess intelligibility without the necessity of referencing God as the precondition of all facts. That is your position. Is that correct?
Yes, that is my position.
Good. Now, I want you to explain how you determine that, and please do not repeat the two slogans that you've repeated twice already. How did you determine that facts do not necessitate referencing God as the ultimate precondition?
By observation and my own personal sensory experience.
I don't know what that means. How did your personal experience that the facts that you're acquainted with, you've determined that these facts are unrelated to God? How did your personal experience determine that all the facts that you're acquainted with do not necessitate referencing God as a precondition?
Because the absence of the concept as represented in reality, there is a complete absence in any of the facts that I see in reality of the concept as put forward by theists.
That you are simply regurgitating the same statement in different words.
Yes, I know,
How
because
good that
you
doesn't
are shifting the burden
you're
of proof.
not okay, you know what? This is the third time you do this. Do you like
And we're
being
going to
okay,
continue
do not
in this
overtalk me.
circle. You
Do not
overtalk
overtalk me.
everyone.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah. So you're being a little obnoxious little swine. Now, all you're simply doing is you're repeating the same claim over again. Okay? Now, we're going to try it again. How did you determine that all the facts in your experience do not necessitate referencing God as the origin point? How did you determine that?
We're not going to get anywhere with this. This is just
That is a
going to
that's a no,
continue
that's a
in the
legitimate
same
question.
cycle. This is
No,
going to
what you're
continue
doing right now is you're doing what many
the
atheists
same
do is you're
cycle.
being argumentative. You're being argumentative to blow the conversation up. It's called derail the conversation so it ends in a stalemate. Now,
I am being as honest
okay,
as I possibly can be in this
no,
conversation.
you are not. You are being deceitful to the highest degree here. Now, your position entails that facts are standalone and possess intelligibility without the necessity of referencing the necessity of God. That is your position. You've affirmed that several times. I want to know, okay, how you determine that. And do not repeat what you've said before.
I'm just going to repeat that, so I think we're done
Good.
here.
If you do, I will kick you
There
from
is
the
no.
room.
Go ahead and kick me.
Okay, bye bye. See? You see this, folks? This is how arrogant and deceitful these people are. All right?
I didn't
All
hear
they
you.
have all they have in their little grab bag are their little atheist catchphrases, slogans, and cliches. But if you ask the right, clear, and circumspect question, right, they just repeat the same claim again. And when you point out to them, you're repeating the same claim again, then they go, oh, you're burden shifting. This is just atheist catchphrases again.
I
There's no burden shifting here.
You were just asking questions.
Yeah, and so he did, rather than face colossal embarrassment, that he denies the existence of God with no justifiable rationale. Okay, so, right. So the fact that he has personally concluded that facts are unrelated to God, it does not follow from that that God does not exist, unless, of course, he has a rationale that God doesn't exist, and then he could say, therefore, facts do not stand in relations to God as the eternal starting point. So, do you see, folks, how pathologically deceitful atheists are? Why do you think that this is a pattern of behavior with atheists? Okay. They are pathologically deceitful. Now, some of them are more blatant about it, and others of them are more passive aggressive about it and sneaky, but it's all the same deception. They wanted the first guy said, "Oh, well, I lack belief in God." Well, that's just an umbrella category. Does your lack of belief constitute the denial of God, or that you're claiming you're neutral toward God? You see, if you ask the right sort of clear and circumspect questions, they start to become even more deceitful. And then it's like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? Oh, I just got to repeat the same garbage over again, or just be obnoxious and run the conversation into the ground.